Hey, hello. Thanks for taking 5 with me, Wolf Gorlick. A few minutes riffing on IT and IT security. Today, looking at ElasticSearch. If you are running an ElasticSearch site at the time of this video, it is not a good time for you. There is an ongoing attack. It's been happening about 2 weeks. I think the earliest that was known was March 24th. What's going on is this unknown attacker is logging in and effectively deleting all the data from the ElasticSearch. And then trying to point the finger at a security company, which is interesting because we always argue about attribution. Hey, I see there's evidence here that attribution is hard, especially when an attacker is deliberately trying to make it look like someone else. But they're logging in, they're deleting these things. Now, how frequent is this? One of the news reports I read said 15,000 ElasticSearch indexes were hit. Now you figure that's about a third of all the internet-facing ElasticSearch instances. Not a good time to be running this. Now a lot of it is because easy to guess passwords or no passwords. So the tip for you is please secure your ElasticSearch. And we're going to cover how in just a minute, starting with those easy to guess passwords or no passwords. Obviously, preferably have a password on your ElasticSearch. Better have passwords with MFA. I mean, it is really easy these days to break passwords. It's really easy to guess passwords. And MFA continues to be the strongest way to protect against account theft and takeover. Now, that is all sounding good, unless, of course, you've got a account system set up somewhere else, your own IDP or whatever, in which case you may want to integrate ElasticSearch with SAML. SAML being a way that you could do single sign-on. And if you integrate with SAML, again, username, password, MFA at the SSO point at this point to get in. All right, so that's where we start. That would eliminate pretty much the majority, if not all, of these 15,000 attacks. That's really not enough to protect ElasticSearch. If you're going to be doing databases, we need to be going back to fundamentals of security. Username, password, MFA, and RBAC, right? Role-based access control. Within ElasticSearch, the permissions and the roles have gotten significantly better. So look at setting up RBAC where you have different users with different things. That's not going to address this particular use case that I mentioned in the beginning, this threat scenario of someone logging in and erasing your data. It will address the threat scenario of a malicious insider or someone who is no longer with your organization but still has an account and password for whatever reason. Like your IAM is not working. Different video, but check your IAM. Make sure that you're doing role-based access control, implementing those permissions. What about encryption? With ElasticSearch, you can encrypt on the wire using TLS. Use that. Again, fundamentals. You can also, what's a little bit newer, a little bit less known, a little bit less utilized, encrypt the data elements itself. Right down to the data on a field level or column level, particularly useful if you're storing things that you know a criminal is going to want to steal. Again, doesn't stop the threat scenario of someone who just wants to delete your stuff and attribute to someone else. Does address the threat scenario of perhaps a malicious insider or perhaps someone who gets access to that data and wants to sell it. And finally, please enable logging, please enable auditing. Check your controls regularly. Let's assume that you've got a username and password. Let's assume you've got MFA. Maybe you're integrated with SAML to your IDP. Let's assume you're doing RBAC and you're doing encryption. Are you? Are you really? Chances are you were the last time you checked. Are you right now? The only way to really know is to monitor for changes and to integrate the logging into your overall security monitoring program. ElasticSearch has really developed quite a bit from the day and age where it's just a cool little idea of way to store stuff. Now it's used very widely. That means better security controls have come out, better ways of implementing primitives such as authentication, authorization, RBAC. Please use them. And I really hope you weren't among the affected 15,000 servers that were taken down. Any tips and tricks for securing Elasticsearch? Hit me up in comments or social media. Cheers.